Coming up on this week's episode, Kai is once again unwell. He keeps being unwell and we need to get him better. So we're going to discuss ways to get him better. All this and more on this week's episode of... My name is Fraser and we don't have a Kai today because Kai has unfortunately died. He's not died, he's just ill again. I think he's got laryngitis, so that means he actually cannot speak. And I've heard him speak ever so briefly, and no, it's not good. It is just straight up not good. So, we do have a vocal replacement. It's someone who we all know and love and somebody who's been on the podcast before. It's Aiden.
Hello, everyone. It seems like I'm starting to become part of the furniture here now.
Yeah, you've been on, what, like 5 podcasts now or something like that?
Yeah, it's been a lot now, so I've started to get well versed in this now.
So Aiden's now the new co-host, as Kai's not here ever. Yeah, so welcome, Aiden. You are permanently a co-host. You're not permanently a co-host. Not yet anyway.
We'll see. I'm after your job, Kai.
Wow, that wouldn't be the first time someone's been after Kai's job. Cough, cough, Wilbur, and all that stuff that's resurfaced lately. Did you see what's going on with that?
Oh, I'm hearing stuff. Well, I don't know. I saw a thing about game theory talking about the ARG or something, and he was talking about the whole conspiracy and how all this came about, and him thinking that it's all sussed. Who knows? He might have sussed it. He might have cracked the egg on this case. I don't know.
Exactly. So, yeah, the game theory is not just a theory, it's a game theory. Yeah, they basically tried catching the Wilbur. So ARG after 3 years. Well, I mean, it's up to public discussion and up to Wilbur to say whether he's got it or not. I know the answer.
I know the answer as well.
So, yeah, we'll leave it at that. But it's very interesting to see that all come to light again. And suddenly there's so much attention on it. And yeah, it's just unbelievable to see. Like, even I posted a screenshot, which I posted that 2 years ago, January 2019. I just saw Kai's Find My Friends in the river of the O2. It's quite funny to see that make it to the fucking Game Theory channel.
It added spice to it, because all the sort of story that was building up in that sort of thing, and then that getting thrown into it, it just added more to it. And I think that's just the beauty of it. That's probably why it got put in, because it just added spice to it.
Exactly. Yeah, so that was funny to see that all come to light. But talking of like adding spice to things as well, I think we need to think of some home remedies for Kai to get his voice back. I'm thinking we just get a big concoction of Nando's extra hot sauce along with chili juice. You see where I'm going with this? Along with a little bit, and I by this I mean literally just a teensy bit of blended ghost chili pepper.
Ooh.
Not going to go with Carolina Reaper. I think that might be a bit too much, but ghost chili pepper.
What about a little bit of Scotch bonnet? Just a tiny bit of Scotch bonnet.
Yeah, stick that in as well. Why not?
Yeah, I mean that'll do for a little bit of a chili smoothie. That'll warm him up.
Chili smoothie. That sounds grim.
Well, I mean, what else would you? What would you just like have a little salad just with like all these chopped chilies and everything, and the dressing being like the hot sauces?
Oh God, that still sounds disgusting.
I mean, what else would you have it with?
I mean, you'd have it separately. You just wouldn't have it together. That'd be horrible.
Who knows? Who would have a chili salad? Just having like the salads and stuff, and all these like little chilies around with a sauce to mix it all together. I don't know.
Not me. If you want to give it a go, feel free, but I definitely won't be.
Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, I think that would be wildly inappropriate, but hey, you always drink wild concoctions when you have sore throats, so maybe it would work.
Maybe so.
Although, that would be quite funny to see that. But I think what we should talk about today, before we go into the next bit, actually, we're doing a community episode next week now, because obviously Kai is ill. So make sure you tweet us at Stuck in the Podcast with some questions for the community episode, because we want to answer any of those questions. It's been a very long time since we last did a community episode, so make sure you tweet us at Stuck in the Podcast with any questions you want us to answer in a Q&A style episode. But going back to it, some of the things I want to talk about today were some of our most funny moments in inappropriate or unexpected times. So moments which may have caught you off guard, moments where it might not have supposed to be so funny, but ended up being so funny because it was so weirdly timed or wasn't supposed to be a thing that would happen, like, something which would call anyone off guard. I want to talk about a few of them because I know that I've definitely had a few of them in my life. Haven't you, Aidan? You've had a few of them in your life as well.
Yes, I have many stories to come up with. Like, I'm just cracking up with some of them right now. But yeah, I mean, would you like to go first and tell your
so starting off with one that kind of ties into the weird concoction of things blended together. When we were at the Insomnia pub quiz, I think this was Insomnia 58. I can't remember. It might have been an early one, but it was one of them. Matan, our good bearded ginger friend Matan, was going to the bar to get some drinks. Now, the rule of thumb at the Insomnia pub quiz is get a bunch of drinks at once, because you're queuing there for such a long time that you don't want to be going backwards and forwards. So Matan, with me, was queuing up at the bar for the Insomnia pub quiz. And unrelated thing, this was actually the main story. In front of us, there was this popular YouTuber called iBallistic Squid. Now, he recognized me because of the fact that we were special guests at Minecon 2015. So he recognized me from being at Minecon 2015. So when he was taking a selfie with his friends, before he even noticed I was behind him, I photobombed him. And that photo went out on Twitter, and it wasn't until it went out on Twitter that he realised that I was there in the background photobombing, which was hilarious. But yeah, going back to the main story. It's funny as well. Sorry, going back again. It was funny because like people were taking screenshots of my face and posting it in the replies. That was quite funny. But that isn't even the main story here. The main story is that Matan, unfortunately, had a bit of a blunder at the Insomnia pub quiz, where he went to get 4 pints and take them all back to the table. So we could have 4 pints to deal with over the course of the pub quiz without having to go backwards and forwards. Now, I think you would know as a bartender, an ex-bartender, Aidan, that carrying 4 pints isn't that easy.
Oh my god, I mean, fortunately, I haven't had to actually do it, but like, yeah, I mean, there's a bit of a technique to it. You have to wrap your hands around like the glasses and stuff, or you can do it with the tray, which is not easy either, doing it with the tray. But
no. Now, this is where things got difficult for Matan, because Matan opted for a box. However, it wasn't a box which covered the entirety of the glasses or the cups. It was literally just like a cardboard. We'll go with a cardboard tray, but with lips on either side to kind of like contain it. Now, the issue is Matan needs to get back to the table. And it wasn't until he'd made 5 steps away from the bar that he realised that this was impossible. And thus he spilled all 4 of his pints in the box. And everyone went, "Way!" And then, with Insomnia being Insomnia, a chant formed. Box, 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 box. And they basically chanted Matan to chug the remainder of his drink out of the cardboard box.
Oh my god.
So there was Matan drinking the beer out of this cardboard box while everyone was going, box, 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 box. And then he finished it, he threw the box in the air and everyone went, absolutely hilarious.
That is brilliant. I mean, I don't know if anyone's like well versed with this like abroad or something, but in the UK, in a pub at least, it might be in clubs as well, if someone drops a pint, spills a pint, smashes a glass or something, the entire pub just like stops what they're chatting about and just points at the person. Maybe not point, but at least look at them and then just go, "Way!"
Yeah, I mean, you've got to do the cheering, haven't you?
You've got to do it. I mean, even if you're the one that is like spilling it, you got to accept humility and then just enjoy the moment. But like,
exactly. So that was Matan's moment. Spilling the pints and then chugging out of a box.
Oh, dear Lord. Yeah, that's a good one.
What about you?
Okay, so
obviously I've got a few here, by the way. We're going to go backwards and forwards and go through these.
So yes, we've got a few here. So for mine, obviously, we're getting up towards Christmas time, right? We're in October.
Somehow.
You get the yeah, somehow. I mean, some shops are already stacking up with Christmas decorations.
Oh my gosh.
This is going back a few years now. This is when I was at my very first bit of bar work going on. It was at a social club near where I live. And obviously, people are starting to put the Christmas decorations up at work and everything. And, you know, I come and walk in. I used to, like, walk around the back way.
Right.
When I went into work. So I went into the front door, went around into the lounge. Where was it? It was in the kitchen where I kept, like, my coat and everything because it's getting cold. Right. So I'd put a few layers on. So I took on my hoodie and I think maybe sometimes a coat if it was getting that cold. And then I would walk in, right? I see, like, there's a Christmas tree there and everything. It's like, okay, normal Christmas tree. And as I'm going along with it and doing my usual routine of checking tables and, like, picking up glasses, I take a closer look at the tree. You know how on the top of a normal tree you see, like, the fairy, like a normal fairy? This was a fairy washing up liquid bottle. That was on the top of it.
Oh dear.
So they decided to cut it up and then stick it on the top of the tree.
So they still had a fairy on top of the tree, just not the fairy that we all expect.
Not the fairy that you all love and expect. It's a fairy washing up liquid bottle.
Oh, amazing.
I laughed so hard. Like, I absolutely loved it.
Did that stay throughout the whole of Christmas?
Yes, it stayed. It was a fixture.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Do you know what? It gets even better because when I went to my second bar work, right?
Yeah.
And this is getting towards the same time at Christmas, I walk in. I don't know if this was like the idea, because I think my dad used to run the social club, but I go in and on top of that tree, it made me laugh even more because I remember the story from the club, but they'd done the same thing. They stuck a fairy washing up liquid on the top of the tree.
Yeah.
And it's just not your conventional fairy. They just decide to take something from a household thing and stick it on top of a tree, and that's brilliant. That's just comical brilliance.
I think I might have to live up to that when I ever move out and get my own house and Christmas tree.
Well, just stick a fairy washing up liquid bottle on top
may
of
as
it.
well.
May as well. It's a new trend coming this Christmas. Stick a fairy washing up liquid bottle on top of your tree.
Exactly. That would probably crack me up if that caught me off guard. It's things like that. I love unexpected moments which just completely catch you off guard like that. And I mean, there's a couple that I've got here. One of them is probably quite an innocent one. The other one not so innocent. We'll get to that one though. But it was more that there was this really important meeting that was going on. This was back in secondary school now, and there was this really important meeting where I don't know if your school did this, but my secondary school, because of how many people there were, if they wanted to do like a whole school meeting, it was pretty much impossible to do so. Right. So what they would do is they would do a Key Stage 3 meeting, which is 7, 8, and 9, and then do a Key Stage 4 meeting, assembly. That's what I meant to say, but we'll go with meeting. Okay. So they would do a Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4 meeting. Key Stage 4 being year 10 and 11. And they would bring everyone into the auditorium, and then they would do their assembly. Now, this was one of those important ones where there was a special guest in to talk about a very serious topic. We won't go into the details of the topic. It wasn't like a bad thing, but it was something which is like, it's a serious one. They do those educational ones based on serious things that you need to know. And it was a very serious one. Now, unfortunately, the main teacher that was introducing the assembly was having a very bad throat day. A very bad throat day. To the point where they were having constant voice cracks if you were just talking to them normally.
Oh, no.
And he tried his best to not have any voice cracks whilst talking over the microphone. So he's introducing, he's going very well. Obviously, he sounds a little bit hoarse. Sounds a little bit croaky. A little bit like a frog, of course. But he wasn't going or anything. Do you know what? I think I need to say what the topic is. In order, it's not a bad topic, but it's to do with like it was like there was a member of the police force that was coming in to talk about like local crime and stuff and ASBOs and things like that.
Oh, so like a usual like public services thing, like what they do and such. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just a general serious one. Well, I stammered a little bit there. It was a serious topic that they were talking about, and when introducing it, this teacher kind of lost his voice a little bit more. Unfortunately, a voice crack came at the wrong time. Now, I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was something along the lines of, and now we're going to introduce PC, whatever the PC's name was, who's going to be talking about gun crime! And it was like that over the microphone.
Wow.
The fact that he went, gun crime! Like, in really exaggerated voice like that, as he was trying to, like, regain himself as the voice crack was going on. Everyone just absolutely wet themselves.
Oh, no.
You can see that he was so embarrassed, and luckily the guy from the police force found the complete funny side of it. But everyone had, like, you know, when you get everyone into the mindset of, right, you need to take this seriously, you need to pay good attention, we've got a special guest, and you need to get into that mindset of being on your best behaviour. That just absolutely tore everyone to shreds.
Oh my god.
So that was a moment which completely caught everybody off guard. It wasn't necessarily an inappropriate time, but it was just such a random thing which you couldn't write. It just happened, and it was absolutely comedy gold. Obviously, people calmed down eventually, but for the first like few minutes, they had to stop it every now and then because people kept like laughing,
just cracking up.
Yeah, exactly. People kept laughing, and it was obviously inappropriate. And obviously, I think we ended up staying behind for about 5-10 minutes as well until the assembly had ended. But I mean, it was all for a good cause.
Of course. I mean,
it was so funny.
Once you get so like that, you know it's just hard to stop. Like, no matter how much like the teachers say, this is not funny, you need to be serious about this. Like, nothing's gonna stop you from trying to crack up.
Exactly,
after that.
Yeah.
I mean,
obviously they saw the funny side of it at the very start, but they needed to get everyone to calm down again. Otherwise, it would have been a complete waste of time for the police force coming in.
Yeah, touching up on like saying like how people did it. Our secondary school, we didn't do it in key stages. We did it in house groups. So all of the years from one house group had a meeting on one day, and then the other houses on the other days.
That's right. That's what we eventually had as well. But this was at a time before the house groups were a thing.
Yeah. But no, that's brilliant. See, now that I've heard that story, it's kind of put to shame the next. So I've thought of another story which is quite funny actually. So it goes back to my first bit of work. Working at the social club. Okay. This wasn't during Christmas, sorry. This is like a normal day, right? And one of our regulars that were there, he's like a Jamaican person. He's like, he's old, but we all knew him. And he used to hang out at a circular table near to the bar. It'd be a little bit rude and say like, "Hey boy, come over here," and then my dad would be there sometimes, and you'd just say, "Stop it." So we thought, right, he usually has some whiskey, like Jameson's like a whiskey, if no one knew. He had like a double, I think it was, or a single. It doesn't matter. He had a whiskey, and usually with some whiskeys you would have some ice. So he wanted some ice.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would go in.
Do they still call it on the rocks?
I think. I mean, me personally,
that's less of a whiskey thing, isn't it?
I've heard it more recently now on the rocks. Now, but I think back in the day, I don't think anyone would refer to that at all as that. I don't think, at least in there. But
right.
I think because of a certain game, you know, I think because they said it, I think it's more popular now to say on the rocks.
Right.
So yeah, he wanted some ice, so I'd go in and go to the fridge to get some ice. It's not your typical ice, you know. With this, like, with the whiskey glass, this like round whiskey glass, with this bit of whiskey on the bottom, I put the entire whole bag of ice on top of this glass, so it looked as if so it looked as if like you had this like bit of like whiskey just with this load of ice on the top. And when I brought it out, everyone just cracked up and started laughing.
God!
And I think like the joke maker, because like obviously he's usually the loudmouth one, he just sat in the corner, just like. We all knew him. He like laughed with it as well. But like, I think at first it was just like, oh dear Lord. I think he couldn't. He couldn't take the humility of it. Like at first.
So you were a massive con artist. You gave like 2 milliliters of whiskey and then a metric ton of ice on top.
Yeah, extreme improportionate of that.
Dear.
And what's even funnier is on the same day we also did some like cooked food and stuff. And because of his Jamaican accent, he said we were doing like bacon rolls and such. So he said, "Hey, can I have a bacon sandwich?"
Yeah.
So I said, "Yeah, sure thing." I think this is my dad's idea, more like
putting a beer can inside a sandwich.
Yeah, we put a beer can inside.
That's so good. That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it was brilliant. I absolutely loved that bit. I loved that workplace. It was a shame it had to go the way it did, but there was some great laughs in there to just...
Did the guy absolutely wet himself at it as well?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, brilliant.
He did. He absolutely... He was like... He said it in a joking way, but... Hey, what is this? Why am I meant to eat this? Oh, it was brilliant.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that. It's very nice when... because obviously with bars and stuff and not clubs necessarily, but definitely with like pubs and bars, of course you get your regulars, and it's nice to have that like that friendly banterous attitude between customers and bar staff. So that's really funny to hear that.
Yeah, I mean that's how you kind of like build a rapport with your. Well, in a pub, it's patrons. Yeah, that's how you build like a rapport with them, and that's how you get them back by creating memories and such. And those sort of memories, that's why I just loved that place. It was brilliant. It was
amazing. Okay, now the next one. I think this will probably be my last one. So then we at least we do like 2-3 each. This one isn't necessarily funny in terms of it catching me off guard. But it is a funny story. Well, it could be a funny story. I don't know. It's a very weird one to kind of like describe. I might have previously briefly mentioned it on the podcast, but I think it goes hand in hand with this topic. It was when I got my iPad a few weeks ago, or a few months ago now. God, I don't know how long ago it was. It was a while ago now. So it was when I got my new iPad. I was on the way back to the car from going to Curry's, and I was going through the park. Now, I thought, I'm going to take a little bit of a shortcut here because there's so many people walking along, and I kind of want it to be a little bit quieter because of COVID and all of that. Like, it was quite bunched up. Even at that time in the evening, I think it's like 7:30, and there was quite a lot of people out and about, which is, sure, it's quite nice to see. But I just wanted to avoid the people. So I went off a little bit of a shortcut way, and let's put it this way. I wish that I never took that shortcut. And instead, I actually went with the crowded pathway. Because normally I'd be okay with going down that shortcut. It would take me to a bridge, which would take me out of the park, and it would put me onto a nice quiet road. But unfortunately, I was met with an unexpected visitor. So this cyclist had decided to also go down the shortcut way and have a whiz. Now, he wasn't secretive about this whiz at all. He was facing the way that he was expecting nobody to come. And that was me coming that way. So people behind him would not have seen anything. But anyone coming that way, he probably didn't even know there was a path there. Would have seen everything. Now, unfortunately, I came that way.
Oh,
and he was pissing. And he was standing there proud. And I wasn't looking, but I knew 100% what was going on because peripheral vision. And as I was walking past, he had the audacity to speak up and apologise. You don't say anything in that situation. You just accept the fact that it's happened. You can't go back. My eyes are scarred. His embarrassment was probably high. If he wasn't embarrassed, then he's a really weird person. But I saw everything doing disgusting things, also known as whizzing everywhere.
I mean, when you couldn't think Bristol could get any worse, I mean...
Can you get that?
Then you witness someone with the Johnson out performing the golden shower.
Yeah!
Lovely. Oh, dear Lord.
It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. It's definitely, it's one of like my most cursed moments in Bristol ever. I've never, ever, you see people taking a whiz sometimes, like in public, and it is gross, but it is what it is. I'm sure everyone's done it. But
I mean, the council of... Yeah, even the council have put like portable toilets down to say, stop wazzing in the streets, do it in the portable urinal. But yeah, people still do it.
So sometimes, like, you see people doing it, it is a bit gross, but half the time they're out of the way, they're in the trees, or they're facing completely away. And that guy...
He just did it loud and proud. Jeez.
Was just out. Oh my god, absolutely terrified. So it's a funny story to talk about because of the unfortunate circumstances, but it goes hand in hand with the whole inappropriate and unexpected times for something completely inappropriate to happen.
Oh dear. Well, let's try and bring this back around. I mean,
go on.
Yeah, so okay, this is when I was like little. I was living in... should I say it? Yes, great, I'll say it. So I used to live in Portishead. And it was in a very nice area. It's Portishead Marina. It's gorgeous houses and everything there now. But back in the day, when I was living down there wasn't many houses like being built up there. Yeah. It was kind of like mainly building sites and everything. But they had this like little bit of the marina where you had like steps going down. And you could go crabbing. I'm sure a lot of people that are listening, they've done crabbing when they're younger. It's quite fun. You put like a little bait on like the sort of bit of line.
For those of you that don't know what crabbing is, it's fishing, but crabs.
Yes. Thank you for explaining.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you put like a little bit of bait. It could be anything really, just as long as crabs like it. You put it on an end of the string or hook or whatever you decide to do it. You put it in the water. I'd say some like shallow bit of water so you can see all the crabs that are coming up. And when you see them nibbling onto it, you pull it up and then you put it in a bucket. Now, I was doing this with my dad, and my dad happened to bring his friend along. Right? And we were just having a bit of fun. And then my dad's friend decided to take an unconventional route and trying to catch some crabs.
Okay.
Like, right, bear in mind, we were all, like, normally clothed because we were going out and we were just fishing. We weren't expected to do anything, like, swimming or anything. He all of a sudden decided to just dive into the harbour.
Oh, no.
To catch a crab.
Oh, no. What an idiot.
Fully clothed and everything. Like, it's like he's mad. You know what's even worse?
What's that?
There's not just crabs in that harbour. There's, like, eels in there as well.
Oh, God.
So...
Why has he done that? What bloody lunatic?
I mean, that is kind of like the right description that can describe it to him. I won't go into detail what he's done, but you could say that again. He's a lunatic.
Oh, God. Do you know what? I kind of have something to go hand in hand with that. And I'm not trying to steal the thunder from your story, but pretty much the same thing in Bristol city centre. Me and a group of friends, we went out for some food, and it was a hot summer's day. Now, we had a friend called Freya, and Freya was definitely talking about how hot it was. We just come out of the restaurant, and she's like, gosh, it's so hot. And we were just joking, like, oh, just go for a swim in the water then, it's right there. Talking about the harbour side in Bristol. And she was like, all right. So she went down the steps to the docks where the ferry normally pulls up, and she jumped in. She cut her leg, which was really, really bad. And I think she also didn't realise that it's illegal.
Yeah, I mean, it was on the news, and they were saying, like, don't swim in the harbour.
Exactly. So, yeah, she jumped in, she cut her leg, and she got out. But the fact that she had the same attitude as that guy... is obviously for the crab for him and for the heat for her. Yeah, people like that, absolute mad lads.
Yeah, fortunately for my dad's friend, he didn't sustain any cuts or any
That's
eel zappiness or anything.
Yeah. At least it wasn't an electric eel.
He caught a crab. I'll tell you that, he caught a crab out of his unconventional method. But this serves as like a sort of thing to say, don't go swimming in harbours, because you never know what's going to appear in them. Because
exactly,
you hear about stories about canals and everything, and how they like sometimes drain them, and they have like public efforts to like clean it up, and they find like bikes and stuff. I think there was like a place in Paris where they found like a moped in like a canal.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, so don't go swimming in like harbours unless you know what's in there.
There could be a crocodile.
There could be a crocodile or sharks. Like,
or there could be
sharks.
A man urinating.
Yeah, it's not. Couldn't be. Yeah. Anyway,
or there could be gun crime.
Gun crime.
Anyway, so that was our stories. We got one more topic to talk about, so let's move on to that. So one of the things I talked about last week was the fact that I've got some new Twitter early access features, which is quite exciting because I've never really got accepted for anything that's so early access on Twitter. Like I had access to Twitter Spaces a little bit early, which was quite nice, but I mean, I don't really use them. And other things like, what was it? The audience controls, where you can choose who replies to your stuff. I literally didn't have that for so long. But this is the first time I've actually got a brand new feature in early access, to the point where it's literally not even possible to create anything to do with this without contacting Twitter directly. That's how early access it is. Now, I've invited Aidan, I've invited Kai, I've invited another 30 people to use this as well. So I can give access to people, as long as you fit into the community, to this early access Twitter feature. And this early access Twitter feature is communities. Twitter communities now are a thing. Now, what do you think of it at first glance, Aidan?
As long as I'm using the right system, it's a great place to like. So, how the way that Twitter usually works is you just tweet out a thing to say, "Oh, I'm doing this" or anything, and it's just out there in the public. But what I love about the communities function is the fact that you can have people subscribed to this like area, and you don't have to have everyone else listening in on it. You could just have it so that you're focusing on the people that are actually caring about the topic that you're discussing, and people can voice their opinions on this sort of topic. And it's just a nice little thing. It's kind of a little bit like, it's like Discord on Twitter, but it's like, you know, you're just tweeting rather than just putting an open conversation on there. It's brilliant. I love it. I love this feature so much. Oh.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. And it's so early access that it literally doesn't even work on Android yet. So Aidan can't even use it on his phone. He can view it, but he can't actually do anything unless he goes onto web or if you have iOS. Ultimately, the best way to describe it for people that don't know what they are, it's imagine Reddit subreddits or groups on Facebook. And previously, the old, but gold in some ways, platform, Google Plus, with their Google Plus circles. It was basically that. It's basically that. So Twitter community is essentially like Google Plus circles, where you can join a community of people with like-minded interests. So what I've done is I've created a new Twitter community for anyone who is or is interested in streamers, which I think fits in really nicely with what I do, being someone who's really interested in streaming and likes to surround themselves with information around the streaming environment. And what I've gone and done is I've created that community. I invited a bunch of people to it. The way you create them, by the way, is you have to go through a 2-stage application process, which is quite interesting. First of all, you have to apply for it, and you can get the link to apply for it from just Twitter's community's Twitter account. Which is quite easy. But then what they do is they contact you for follow-up information. Now, I'm not going to say what the follow-up information is, because I think there was something on the email which said, like, please not disclose any other information. Otherwise, you may have your community terminated. But they contact you for follow-up information. And when you give out that follow-up information, they're like, cool, okay, we love the idea. And they create a community. And it's so early access that there's no way for me to even edit my community yet. You have to email Twitter. So big up Dave. You have to email Twitter, who then makes the edits for you. And that just goes to show how much of an early access feature it is. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about it because it's early access feature. I mean, it is a little bit of a flex, but I love the possibilities that this now has. The fact that you can easily grab some communities together. Obviously, you've got like your community Twitter accounts who try to like act as like the hub for information. But the fact that you've got these groups where you can tweet directly into the Twitter communities, and the tweets only go to people who are part of that community, so you get like-minded people who are there for the same reasons. I think this is a really potentially powerful feature.
Oh, totally. Like, I could already think of some like applications. Like, for instance, I don't know if you can kick members out of it, but like, say for instance, like you've got a stream going on and you have like a discussion going on like with your followers, like, or with your like subscribers or anything. Maybe having like a subscriber based community on Twitter. Maybe now not everyone works like that. Some people may say that's a bit unfair, I want to open the stream for everyone, but I'm just saying some people like to have that sort of formatting to their streams, and they can have that sort of community on Twitter where they just have that particular one, voice out an idea. People that are in their subscriptions areas that have decided to put money towards it, they can voice their opinion on it. It's a great space for that. And like you're saying, it's early access, and you have to email Dave, great Dave.
Big up Dave. I mean, I don't think it's always Dave, but he was like the first person that talked to me.
One of the many lovely Twitch staff, such as Dave, that sorts out the community. Twitter. Yeah. Oh dear. One of the lovely staff at Twitter can help you out to edit it. But didn't you say that at some point they'll eventually roll out user operated tools to?
Yes. So at the moment, because it is early access, you can't do anything about it. But they are looking to, I think it's within the next couple of months, they want to get some editing tools out, so any admins or moderators can make edits to the community without the need to go backwards and forwards. Because like literally anything at the moment, if I want the banner color to change, I have to email Twitter. If I want the actual banner image to change, I have to email Twitter. If I want to change the name, email Twitter. Add a moderator, email Twitter. Change a rule, email Twitter. It's all email Twitter for everything. Which is fine, because like I'm not exactly making regular changes. In fact, the only change that I've made outside of me initially not being able to see the communities tab is I had to email them to add Kai and Aiden as moderators. But otherwise, since then, I've not needed to add anyone as moderators. Or I haven't need to make any edits to the community. I was thinking, I could update the banner if we get more people in, do like a little banner competition or something. But that's kind of what I want to do at some point, though. I want to see if we can get more streamers in. It could be from any platform. It could be from YouTube. It could be from Facebook. It could be from Twitch. But I think we should get as many streamers in as possible. And it'd be cool just like have a central conversation hub for anything related to streaming. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, I think just at this stage right now, obviously it's early access and they only have like a small amount of communities on there. So I guess Twitter will be all right to just make these adjustments themselves. But obviously when this becomes more widespread, then it's going to start becoming a bit of an issue, because the needs of changing are going to eventually outweigh the resources which Twitter has to do this. So once it gets popular and once all the sort of major bugs get ironed out, and when they have these like toolboxes, it's going to be less of a problem. But I think for now they'll be all right to manage these sort of little changes for this like small based community. But what I wanted to mention is you mentioned the color of the community. So this is one of the quirky bugs of communities right now. So if you're on desktop for this, you have it set as red.
Yeah.
On mobile, it's purple.
Which is very interesting. I'm getting that as well.
Yeah, so this is both an iOS and Android thing, so that's kind of like a thing they've got in common. Another problem on Android specifically, I don't think you have this issue on iOS, is that once I'm part of a community, even though I've joined, there was no join button on there. It seems that there's a button issue on communities on Android. I couldn't join there. I had to go onto the main website for this. And also, right now, the only button that I can actually press is a share tweet button.
Yeah.
The like, the retweet, the comment is all grayed out. I cannot interact with anything, even though I can interact on the desktop version. It won't let me do it on the Android version.
I think that's where it's so early access on Android that literally any interaction options are disabled.
Yeah. But these are the quirks that you get when you adopt early access software. But, I mean, come on. With early access, you get to play with all the cool toys first. I mean, which is absolutely amazing. And we get to experience this amazing feature early. And it's so good.
You're part of the roadmap for what could then be ending up being the next biggest thing. So I'm excited to get my hands on it so early. I'm excited to provide feedback where I can as well. And overall as well, if you sound excited about this as well and you want to join in with the streamers community, if you are a streamer on any platform, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, if there's any other ones, I don't know, Mixer, no, that's gone, goodbye. Then feel free to let me know or Aiden know. Tweet us at FraserIRL or at LegoRacer97 asking for an invite, because we have unlimited invites, and once you're in you also have an extra 5 invites as well to add any of your friends. So if you want to be the first one to get your foot in the door and then get your friends in as well, just let us know. We'll invite you to the streamers community. That's at FraserIRL and at LegoRacer97.
Exactly, and the tweets that I see in there already for this community, it's so lovely. Everyone's so humble. You can get in, chat about streaming related stuff. It's such a great community.
It's a productive community, so it's still quiet at the moment. There's 33 members in, which is a lot more than I was expecting to get, to be honest, already. But out of the 33 members, we're talking about streaming-related things. We're sharing the new stuff, like obviously Twitch had its recent big breach of data. And it's good to see like a conversation going on. It's great to get a conversation going, so I think this is going to be a lovely, powerful tool when it gets released to everyone. But that's all for this week's episode. Thank you all so much for listening to this week's episode of... Aiden, thank you so much for being here. Is there any final words you want to say?
I'd just like to say thank you for having me on here again. I always love these sort of opportunities to discuss many things and stuff that's going on in the world. But it's been nice. I love doing these. So thank you for having me. And it's been a pleasure.
Worries. If you want to see more of Aiden, follow him on Twitter, as I mentioned before, at LegoRacer97. You can also find him on YouTube, /C/LegoRacer97. Of course, follow us on our Twitter podcast account, that's Stuck in a Podcast. Follow me on mine at FraserIRL. FraserIRL on everything else. We've got the community episode next week, so make sure you tweet us questions on Twitter so we can go and answer them in a Q&A style community episode, because it's been quite a while. Follow us right here on Spotify as well by clicking on the follow button and making sure you turn on notifications so you never miss when an episode comes out. We upload every single Wednesday unless things go wrong, so keep your eyes peeled for the next one, which should be coming out next week. Other than that, have a great week, have a great weekend, have a great life, but all in all, don't forget, but this week I actually forgot, god damn it. Bitch.
Yeah, bitch.